Welcome. You are watching Living La Vida Vegan. Discover the joy of ditching the diets, eating in abundance, and having your healthiest body yet. I am your host, Stephanie Hutchinson, and today I have the pleasure of sitting down with Paul Turner. Paul, a former monk, is now known as the Food Yogi. He is the International Director of Food for Life Global, the largest plant-based food relief in the world, with 210 projects in over 60 countries that serves up to 2 million meals daily. Paul is a social entrepreneur, numerologist, vegan chef, and spiritual guide. Wow, you are doing truly amazing things, Paul, and this is why I am so excited to have you on this series. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much, Stephanie, for inviting me.
Of course. I'd love to dive right in and talk about when you decided to become a monk and why, and really how your plant-based lifestyle started.
Well, when I was age 19, I was very philosophical as a teenager. At the age of 16, I used to sit out all night watching the stars and studying astronomy. So I was very philosophical. I was always asking questions about creation and, how did this all happen? So that sort of planted a seed in me to continue searching for the truth. So at the age of 19, I actually came across an ancient scripture called the Bhagavad Gita, which is considered to be like the Hindu Bible. It talks a lot about reincarnation and yoga. It's really like the yoga Bible. And that revealed to me an essential truth, that we're all spiritual beings and we're having many, many lifetimes. And this is just one lifetime. And all of these human experiences, animal experiences, are there to help us progress as souls. And so that set me on a path. And I was a monk for 14 years. And so during that time as a monk is when I learned how to cook very large quantities of food to feed people. My first service as a monk was doing the Food for Life program, where I was feeding needy people in Sydney, Australia. And so I learned how to cook, vegetarian meals. I wasn't a vegan then; I was a vegetarian. And that experience made me realize how powerful food is as a communicator, as a way to connect with people, as the best medium for building bridges. And so that pretty much built the foundation for my life career as a food yogi.
That's amazing. And I'd love for you to touch a little bit on what food yoga is.
Well, food yoga is, if you look at the words, food is food, and yoga means essentially to connect. So what we're talking about when we say food yoga is having a more intimate or spiritual relationship with food, so that you're actually connecting with food on a very spiritual level, and you're using food as a medium to connect with other people on a very spiritual level. So we believe, and this is what I learned as a monk, and just to backtrack, so as a monk, I was a traditional monk. I would sleep on the floor, cold showers. I would only eat certain times of the day, like it was 8 o'clock breakfast, 8:30 breakfast, 12:30 lunch, 6 o'clock dinner, and I couldn't eat in between. And it was a very regulated lifestyle. And my spiritual teacher, Swami Prabhupada, he said that spiritual life begins with the tongue. And that was pretty profound. And when you think about that, it doesn't sound very powerful, but actually the more you meditate on it, it reveals a real essential truth. And that is that of all the senses, the tongue is the most difficult to control, is the most voracious. And when you learn to control the tongue, you actually can then only control the other senses, the sense of sight, hearing, tasting, smelling. All those senses come under control when you control the tongue. So the tongue literally is the gateway to, either elevating a consciousness, or, a downward slide. So spiritual life, and I sort of rephrased that statement by him, and now I say spiritual evolution or evolution of consciousness begins when you master the tongue.
Yeah.
And as a monk, I was practicing celibacy. And I noticed that when I mastered the tongue, it actually helped me with my celibate vows. It was amazing. I became very, very sensually controlled. My mind was very peaceful. So the tongue is super important. So food yoga is the art of connecting with food, having a more respectful relationship with food, intimate relationship with food, and using food as a tool to elevate your consciousness.
I love that. And the vegan lifestyle is truly about consciousness and being conscious of the choices that we're making and how they're impacting the world around us. So, wow, that is so inspiring. I love that so much. So do you teach yoga as well?
I do. I've been practicing yoga for over 30 years. So I've been doing like the traditional hatha yoga, none of the crazy stuff, but traditional like headstands and, you know, the gentle poses, not the crazy stuff. But and that's important too, because, you know, to be a yogi, the first stage of yoga is to understand that your body is a temple. So there are literally 8 stages of yoga, and most people's understanding of yoga is, oh, you know, I'm an acrobat. You know, I can put my body in these positions, and that's not. I mean, that's not the purpose of yoga. That's actually stage 1, where you treat your body as a temple. So you only eat pure foods. You don't put impure things inside your temple. You do stress-less exercises. So you keep your body healthy. You do recreation. You do it in such a way that it's not stressful. So yoga is the best stress-less exercise on the planet. People say, you know, I like to run, but running is very stressful on the body. Running is good for you, yes, but it's also very stressful. Whereas yoga is extremely good for your health, and it's not stressful. So that's stage 1. And then you're meant to learn to control the senses, control the mind, meditate. There's all these stages of yoga. And the highest point of yoga is what's called bhakti yoga, where your whole consciousness is absorbed in service to God. It's like it's called the yoga of devotion, where everything you do, everything you eat, everything you give away, everything is connected in some way or other as a service to God. So food yoga is one part of that process, where you don't see food as simply just as something to gratify the senses, but you see it as a way to nourish your temple body, and also as a way to connect with the divine. It's a very practical way to connect with God, and I teach that in food yoga.
I love that, seeing our body as a temple and really doing things and eating things that are aligned with that. That is very inspiring. And I didn't know that about the 8 stages of yoga. Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, most people don't. They just think yoga is the gymnastics part. That's right. One tiny aspect of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. That's really cool. What would you say a big challenge of being a food yogi is?
Well, as I said, the tongue is the most voracious. And so even as a food yogi, I've been a food yogi for a long time, it's still very difficult to master the tongue, to completely have control over the tongue, because we may say, you know, for example, I'm not going to eat late at night, and then all of a sudden you see some really tasty food and you think, oh, I'd like to have a taste of that. You know, the tongue is like urging you to want to taste it, whereas your body doesn't actually need it. Your stomach is fine, you're fully nourished, you do not need to eat, but the tongue will force you to eat. It'll force you to taste. So the biggest challenge is learning to become a master of the tongue. Yoga, you know, to be there's a word in Sanskrit called Goswami. So you've heard of the word Swami, right? Swami means master. So Goswami means master of the senses. When you're a Goswami. So learn to be the master of the tongue. That's the most important thing. And the tongue has 2 functions. It's not all about eating. The tongue also vibrates. So what you speak has a powerful impact on your consciousness as well. So this is where we get into, the law of attraction, the secret, and all that idea that the vibrations that you create are literally writing your screenplay for your life.
Right.
But that, again, that's not everything. That's not everything. And so those people, they focus on that, and they forget the fact that the tongue will also taste. So you have all these positive vibrations, but then you go and eat meat. You go and eat these horrible things, which then just lower your vibrations. So you just undo all of that positivity. So there's two functions, tasting and vibrating. You need to master both of them.
Wow. I can see why that is challenging for sure. But I completely agree with the vibrations and what we say in the law of attraction, and how what we put out into the world is a lot of what we receive back. And so if it's negative and pessimistic, then that is what we are attracting into our lives. That's
exactly
powerful. Very, very powerful. But I've never seen it in that way. The tongue and thinking about it like that. Wow. That's very, very cool. So now
most people don't.
Yeah.
Most people have no idea.
Yeah.
About that.
And that just like opened new horizons in my brain, and now I'm like thinking about wow, how true is that? And I've always heard it separate, like the law of attraction and stuff like that, and then food. But you bring it together into food yoga, which is harmonizing both of them. Very, very cool.
Yeah, and I spent a lot of time. I spent a lot of time explaining that in my book, Food Yoga. Building a foundation. I talk about how we're all energy. Food is energy. All of these things, and then I move into this fact that sound is also energy. The words we speak are energy. What we put in our body is energy, and all of these things are influencing our consciousness.
Right.
And it's all about consciousness. This body is just a vehicle for the consciousness. And where there is consciousness is a symptom of the soul. There cannot be a soul without consciousness. There cannot be consciousness without a soul. So that's the real truth. You have to start your purification, your detox program from that perspective, that actually I'm a soul. I'm not simply a body. And if you just start at the point of thinking yourself to be a body, you're going to miss out on the full experience. You have to start from the point that I'm a soul. I have a consciousness, and this body is my vehicle. That's all.
Right. That is so true. And that is so powerful when you start seeing it that way. Wow. Now, when you talk about the energy and food providing energy, I know a lot of raw vegans talk about the life force within raw food. Do you eat only a raw food diet? Or do you eat some cooked
No,
food?
I don't. Okay. I don't. I eat cooked food too, but I did at one point go on a raw food vegan diet for 2 years when I was living in New York. And I was one of those fanatics where I was very extreme. And I realized after doing it for 2 years that the raw vegan diet is extremely good for detoxing, for resetting your body, to getting everything, it's like starting from at a clean slate.
Right.
But as a long-term diet, it's not conducive to health. 99% of the population cannot survive on a raw vegan diet. So yeah, you should eat according to the environment that you live in. I mean, if you're in New York and it's wintertime, you need cooked food. You're crazy not to have. You have to have cooked food. You need heat. You need fire in your body. And you're not going to get that same fire by eating raw food. So you need actual fire. When you cook food, fire is actually put inside that food, and then you ingest that. You get the fire element. So yeah, for most people, it's not practical. So I tell people vegan diet is a good base, but then you need to find what combinations of food suits your constitution, because you have a unique constitution that's different from mine. And also you live in a different place. You have a different environment. And so you have to consider all of these factors when you put your diet together.
So can you go into a little bit more about that? How does one find their food constitution?
It's one of the things you learn in Ayurveda. Ayurveda is the ancient Indian medical system. It's many thousands of years old. Ayura means life, and Veda means knowledge. So Ayurveda or Ayurvedic is the science of, the life science. So in Ayurveda, the first thing you have to understand is your body constitution. And essentially there are three components. There's Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. So Vata is predominantly like air. It's like the air element. And then you have Pitta, which is more predominantly the fire element. And you have Kapha, which is predominantly the earth element. So you can sort of understand your constitution by analyzing your character, your personality, and also your body type. So, for example, if you are a very big-bodied person with big, strong bones, and you tend to move slowly, then you have predominantly a kapha constitution. You have more of an earth constitution. If you're a very fast-moving person, you're very erratic, right? Like the wind, right? And you tend to be not overweight. You tend to be underweight. You tend to eat food very fast and things like that. It's your personality. You talk fast, maybe you talk a lot. You have too much air in your body. That's Vata. And then the other is Pitta, where you have too much fire. You have a really good digestion. You can eat anything. You're very spicy sort of personality. You get agitated quickly, or you're very smart. You're very sharp. You're very quick thinking. That's Pitta. And other aspects of Pitta is that they have very nice nails. They tend to have skin sometimes skin irritations. Earth people, they have more oily skin. Vata people have more dry skin. So just by analyzing your body type, your personality, there's a technique in Ayurveda where they look at your pulse, and they put 3 fingers across your wrist, and just by feeling your heartbeat on each of those fingers, they can tell you exactly what your problem is in your body. They can say you have a kidney problem, it's quite amazing. It's if you go to a real Ayurvedic doctor, it's quite an amazing experience. Within seconds, they can tell you exactly what's wrong with you without you even telling them anything, just by touching your pulse.
Wow.
Because they're first of all looking at your body type, they're looking at your skin, your nails, and those sort of things. They're calculating that, and then they check your heart rate, and then they can tell immediately what your problem is. So based on your combination, now my constitution is more Pitta Kapha. Based on your constitution, then you can eat foods which will complement that constitution. You see? So someone that's very Vata type, very airy, they need to eat things which are more grounding for them. They need to eat more root vegetables, more grains and things like that. So this is the basic idea. You can adjust your diet based on your personality type and your constitution. So a Pitta person who's got a lot of fire in their body, it's not a good idea for them to eat lots of chilies or eat lots of fiery foods. They need to drink more water, more fluids, more fruits to cool them down.
Right.
That's the basic idea.
I love that. That's so neat and unique of a way of looking at it. I've never heard it like that. I know that every body is different and not every lifestyle works the same for everyone, but
exactly.
That is a very, very spiritual way of looking at that.
Yeah. So the foundation is a plant-based diet because, again, I'm telling you, just repeating what I'm saying, you have to start from the point of view that you're a soul. It's not just about the body. And as a soul, we respect other souls. So therefore, we don't eat innocent animals, right? We get our nutrition from plants, right? We get our nutrition from fruits and things like that, where there's less violence. There's actually even violence in killing a plant, but there's much less violence. So it's the lesser of the evil. So to take it to the highest level in food yoga, I teach people to not only have that awareness that you're taking the life of that tomato, and that tomato is literally making the sacrifice of its body for you. It's the greatest sacrifice. It's giving its body for you, right? So a food yogi sees that and realizes, oh my God, I have to honor this tomato. Therefore, let me offer that tomato to God to purify it as a loving sacrifice, and then I'll eat the tomato. So in that way, you actually remove the negativity, the karma, you see?
Right.
So we have to choose the lesser evil path, and then we can purify that week by offering those foods to the divine, to whoever you understand to be the divine, your understanding of God. So I talk about this in food yoga. And then from that, then you can really nourish your body, mind, and soul. You're not just nourishing your body. Because someone who's a meat eater, they can make an argument, oh, meat's got iron, meat's got protein. And you can have these arguments on a physical level. But if you then introduce, hang on a minute, but that cow has a soul. That cow is my brother, my sister, right? How can you justify taking the life of that innocent animal simply for your protein when you can get protein from a plant-based source? So then their argument falls apart. So you have to come from the perspective that I'm a soul. I'm a soul with a human body, and I respect all life, and I honor all life. And then you can, you walk the path of a real yogi.
I love that. It's such I've always talked about this inner peace that I feel from veganism, and that explains it so well, about that piece of knowing that food is pure and that you're not killing and that you don't need to kill for life. And so I really love how you explain that. And I always love to bring the mind, body, spirit together. And I feel that you do that so well. So thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
And I'd love for you to talk about your Food for Life Global. And I know I mentioned it in our intro, but you're doing amazing, amazing work, and I'd love for you to share.
Well, my first service as a monk was to prepare food and serve it to the public. So that was my first experience, as a monk. And as I said, it was very profound because I realized, my God, this is such a powerful way to connect with people, to make friends. And even though I was a monk and I was, very unusual for the average person, it's like this guy I had my head shaved and everything. But because I had yummy food, it's like, okay, well, I like you, you're my friend, you're feeding me. So it made me realize the power of food as a communicator, right? And literally, over the years, I've met with presidents and I've been to war zones, and I've seen how food has this ability to create connection. So our charity, when in 1993, I left Australia and I set up the headquarters for the charity Food for Life Global in Washington, D.C. in 1995. And since then, the program has expanded to 210 projects in 60 countries, which is serving, and with all the volunteers, serving nearly 2 million meals a day, which is about 1,500 meals, 2,000 meals a second. It's a lot of meals. It's going out all the time. So one of what's interesting about this organization is that we don't see ourselves as purely just as a food relief. We see ourselves as a social change organization, because we believe that the cause of world hunger is not lack of food. It's not lack of resources. There's plenty of food in the world. The cause of world hunger is greed. And in other words, the food resources of the world are not being equally shared. And so that begs the question, why aren't the resources of the world being equally shared with all the people? And that's because of spiritual inequality. We're discriminating. We're not seeing each other as brother and sister. If I saw you as my sister, if I saw that person in Africa as my brother or my sister, we would not tolerate them being hungry. But because we've been brainwashed by the governments of the world, with this nationalism idea that, I'm an American, I'm an African. And so we've created all these artificial barriers. And I understand there has to be some borders for cultural integrity. You know, everyone's got their different cultures and stuff. But at the end of the day, when you tear away all the layers, we're all brothers and sisters at a spiritual level. So if we understood this spiritual equality, hunger would disappear overnight. It just would disappear overnight. It's gone, just like that. So our mission at Food for Life Global is uniting the world through pure food. It's not simply feeding the hungry people, which is what we do, but our actual message is uniting the world through pure food. We believe that using food, the purest food, plant-based foods, which have been prepared with love, and then sharing that with people indiscriminately, we're not only feeding bellies, but we're changing consciousness because we're communicating this message that you're my brother, you're my sister. And so that really is a solution to world hunger, uniting the world through pure food. Wow.
Your message and your vision is so large. I absolutely love that, and I'm almost like tearing up because that is such a powerful message that you have, and you're in action about it. And wow, I just love that. And thank you so much for the work that you're doing and everything you're doing to bring world peace and end world hunger. That's
Thank you.
Really amazing. That's so inspiring.
Thank you.
Yeah. Wow.
That's been my life mission for 30, nearly 35 years now, pushing this program. And so just last year we reached 4 billion meals. We distributed 4 billion meals. So we're now at 4.2 billion meals, having served over the last 30 years.
Wow, that's amazing. You should be so proud. I mean, that is just incredible. I love that. And so I know that you have a free gift for our audience, and I would love to allow you to share how they can get in touch with you.
I have, I'm offering 10 free smoothie recipes, food yogi smoothie recipes, as well as 2 free chapters from my book, Food Yoga. So you get a taste of what what food yoga is, and if you like the book, you may want to buy it. And the Kindle version is $8.95. The print version is $20. But it explains everything from beginning to end, starting from the point that we're energy, we're not this body, and then talking about the 5 basic elements, which is earth, water, fire, air, and ether, which make up everything we understand in this world. I talk about the mind, the intelligence, the ego, and all of these things, understanding these energies and how they interplay and affect us on an individual level and on a community level. And then seeing food as energy, not simply as something to, that tastes good, but seeing as a form of energy that you can use to raise your consciousness. So I give you 2 samples of my 2 chapters in the book, and then a 50% discount for those interested in joining the Food Yoga Academy. I'm actually setting up an online academy where I explain all this. I have videos, I do raw food demonstrations, I explain the whole art and science of food yoga. And so there's a 50% discount for those who are interested. They can get that code just by entering their email. They can get the code, and if they want to join the academy later on, they can with a 50% discount.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. And how can our viewers get in touch with you?
You can reach me at foodyogi.org.
Okay.
Foodyogi.org.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's the easiest way.
Well, thank you so much, Paul, for being here and spreading that amazing message and enlightening all of us. I'm sure I can speak for our audience. I mean, just talking with you, I was so enlightened, and I absolutely loved connecting with you today.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. I'd like to do it again sometime. I'm actually visiting America in August. We're going to the Animal Rights Conference. My wife runs the only animal sanctuary in Colombia. And so we're going to, so we're addressing, 2 fronts here, feeding hungry kids and with vegan food and helping abused animals. And so we're going to the Animal Rights Conference to make some presentations there. So people can also meet me at the Animal Rights Conference. in Washington, D.C. in August.
Oh, awesome. That's really great. So cool. And thank you so much for you and your wife for the amazing impact that you're making on this world.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.